Okay, if that doesn't fall, we can record. Okay. Ethan, give us a clap. All right. Welcome back to the Backcountry Pa Podcast. We are in Ohio. That's right. We're coming from you live in Ohio.
Live.
I'm eating pizza.
Mine's gone. I need to get more then.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good for a little makeshift Aldi pizza.
Sorry about that. So we came to Ohio with XOP, went to Zach's house, stayed there for, Ethan, you stayed there for 2 nights.
Yep.
And I stayed there for 1 night. I slept in my truck. Wasn't that bad. Apparently, Ethan was up till almost 11, and I was asleep by like 10. So I was A-okay with that.
Yeah, I went to bed when everyone was still there, so I said, guys, I'm sleeping. Leave me alone.
Yep. All in all, like, it was cool meeting everyone there, meeting different groups that they work with XOP. We decided to go and camp at a different location just because we wanted to be closer to the public that we were actually hunting. And also kind of because there was, like, nowhere to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I had an air mattress, and it was cold ground, and no.
Yeah. So we went there first day. We'll talk about our feelings going into it first because I personally was loving the idea of going in blind to a location.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, like, I run a lot of cameras, obviously, as everyone knows. But, you know, and it kind of deters you from shooting certain things or doing certain things because you're like, okay, well, this is what I see on trail camera, all that kind of good stuff. So, you know, it kind of deters you from doing the whole going in blind thing. But out here, like, when you're going out of state hitting public, it's like, okay, you got to go in blind. And it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. First day, went to a spot. I don't think anyone was going there.
It was actually the spot that I was scouting the hardest for to begin with.
Yeah, and ended up jumping probably the biggest buck that I've ever seen in person. I could have stepped on him. I didn't know he was bedded down there at all.
Right.
And then never saw him again.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided, I was like, no, I'm not going to just go chase a deer that may or may not be there.
Right.
I'm only here for a couple days. And then that's when we left and went to a different spot completely.
Yeah. Yep. Completely different spot. We so Ethan did that yesterday. I went to a spot on the way over to deer camp. Went over, checked that spot out, jumped 1 buck, and I was like, you know, it was just too far. It was very thick in there. Wasn't a ton of sign, which was kind of like I guess what everyone's seeing out here, or not seeing, I should say, is like there's not a ton of sign, but when you find the sign, it's you should hunt that sign.
Right.
So Ethan and I decided to make about an hour plus trip from where we were staying with XOP guys over to another piece of public that has more like a hilly type terrain mixed with like there's some ag around it, and then also it's almost like a cut, like a very like just a pure cut, like it's just grasses everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's
almost like a CRP field, but more bushy.
Yep. More thorns, more of that kind of stuff. Like it's very thick in there. But then you have those pockets of like, okay, this is oaks. Like when we got to the first pocket of oaks and like that one scrape was opened up and there's a bunch of feeding sign, and then we came back past there and there's a doe in there. It's like, you know, you have those type areas, but like I feel like where we were is mostly what people run dogs with. Like they put dogs in there. They run their dogs in there to rabbit or squirrel or pheasant or whatever, you know. I think it can be heavily pressured for deer, but I think it's a very hard area to hunt for deer because of how tall the grasses are. You literally have to jump them to get them to move in there.
Yeah, because if the grass is tall enough that if they're laying down, if it's a buck, you're only seeing tips of their white. And that's
maybe
really
if it's big enough, yeah.
If it's big enough.
Yeah. So we've gotten there, scouted that this morning. We got in there probably about half an hour after daylight. Went in there, hit that pretty hard. I found my spot. In retrospect, I wish I would have taken my stand in with me because I think it would have been better to hang it then than hang it.
Yeah.
It is what it is now, but it's hung for the next morning, and today is what is today?
What is today? 12th? 13th?
The 11th.
The 11th. I'm off.
Tomorrow's the last full day of hunting here. We could technically hunt Sunday here, but I don't think we're going to. I think we're just going to dip out. Whatever happens, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so then we kept working in, and then, we got to a good spot, and Ethan, I was like, Ethan, you lead the way. You kind of figure out your spot you want to go to, and then this is where you come in.
And then I found my spot, and then...
Walk us through how you found your spot.
No.
Don't just say I found my spot.
Found my spot. Thanks to it being real thick and nasty is really how I found it. We followed this edge. How it was like real thick to a right going down the hill. The left was open. So we're like, let's just follow right along the edge. There's just trail. We found a few old scrapes. Nothing super fresh at the beginning. And then we ended up getting to this point where like, well, let's loop around this because it's open and clearing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, let's follow the trail. And as soon as I followed the trail, it was just a wall of thorns. I said, no, let's find another way around here. So we looped back, found an active scrape, which later to find out there was a trail camera probably 8 feet up in a tree, hidden very well because we had no idea it was there. They got us on camera.
And they posted on a Facebook page saying, thanks for taking my camera, but I made that scrape myself.
Yeah. I was like, shit.
But the scrape was being used because we did see hoof marks in it.
Yeah. So whatever he used, that guy, it worked. But then just kept following around, and then we got to this it was a white oak. Yeah, they weren't red oaks.
Yeah.
A white oak flat, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
like a small one.
Yeah, it was tiny, like, 20, 25 acres wide.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe 60 acres deep. And that was about it. And then it opened up to the
60 acres.
60 acres? 60 yards?
I was going to say yards. Yeah, I don't think you meant acres because that's a lot of...
That's a lot of
white
oaks.
Yeah.
It might have been...
Yeah, I don't think it was even... It was probably...
I don't even think it was a full acre.
It was probably 20 yards by, like, 40 or 60, something like that. Like, it wasn't very big.
No. And then there was, like, the road that we basically walked in on was right next to it, and then open, tall grass.
Yep.
So, picked a tree around the edge. That way I could see in the oak flat and kind of shoot out in the open.
Yep.
It was kind of hard to do because all the oak trees, like, kind of made a wall with all of their leaves and branches. Mm-hmm. But I ended up getting a couple good shooting lanes. Did that. And then, we came back here, ate lunch, and said, all right, let's go. We went out, set up. I think I was set up by, 3:30?
Yeah, it was a little after 3, and I got pretty much set up around the same time. Like, I was, in the tree by, 10 after 3. But, I was, still fiddling, getting my camera arm up, getting all my stuff hung up in the tree.
So I was like, all right, we'll sit, we'll wait. Nothing for the longest time. I kept getting attacked by stink bugs. They kept laying it on me, and I would flick them off, and they go flying. And then I was like, if anything comes through here, it's going to be like the last half hour of light.
That's exactly what I thought, too.
And 6 o'clock? A little after 6.
It was 6:22.
6:22. Here walking. Exactly where I expected him to come. Well, one of the two ways we expected him to come out of. Mm-hmm. Here walking. I stop. I look. Boom. There's a deer. I was like, oh, shit. Look at his head. There's antlers. All right. Grab the crossbow right away. There's no antler restrictions here in Ohio where we're hunting.
to be classified as a buck has to be 3 inches or better.
Yeah, so 3-inch spike
It's classified as a
or
buck.
plus
Yep.
is a buck. So I said this might be the only buck I see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking a chance and letting this one walk.
Yep.
At all. And it was, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't even count.
Yeah.
I just saw white. I said, yeah, okay.
Okay.
He walks towards me, turns, walks out. I knew where he was going to go, at least to the direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I got to stop him here
Right.
because I'm not really going to have the best shot over there.
Right.
So I gave him the old merp. He stopped right away. Slightly quartering to.
Mm-hmm.
Let it rip. I hit him.
What was his reaction when you hit him?
He like his middle of his back arched.
What
Like-
about his tail? What does his tail do? Go between his legs?
At first, and
Okay.
I think it went up when he was running.
Yeah, because... Okay, continue, sir. Keep going. Keep going.
So then I was like, "Do shit!" Like freaking out.
Right.
First archery buck ever.
Yep.
First buck in 7 years.
Yep.
Obviously called my wife right away.
Mm-hmm.
She has to be first. That's her
Mhm.
rule.
Yep.
She's first. So I called her. I text you.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to mess up your hunt in case you were literally drawn back on something at that
Well,
moment.
yeah, if I was
didn't
drawn
know.
back on something, yeah.
So I text you quick, and then I was going to call my dad, but then you called me first.
Yep.
Told you about it. You're like, dude, I'm coming. Call my dad. Of course, he expected me to be there. Like, oh, he's like, dude, send me a picture. I
Yeah.
was like, Dad, I'm still in the tree.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm shaking the tree right now. Like, I was shaking.
Yeah.
I said, all right. I said, Dad, I got to get out of this tree. I'll send pictures to you, whatever. Eventually make my way down the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Walk over to the bolt, clean pass through.
Yep.
Look at it. Covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
From broadhead to fletchings.
Mm-hmm.
Blood. I was like, promising.
And there wasn't any...
No bubbles.
Yep.
No guts.
Mm-mm.
Just smooth red blood.
Yep.
Right? So I was like, okay. I hit something good.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came, and I was like, dude, I hit him here. He went out. I saw him run down the road. And then obviously he disappeared. I think it was the quietest I've ever been driving home. We don't have the buck currently.
Yep.
Because the blood was almost non-existent and very hard to find. We'd find a
Yes.
drop on
Every,
a
couple
leaf.
feet.
Yeah, there'd be a drop on a leaf. There'd be a drop on the stem.
And it could just be, for one, it ran on the trail that we walk on
right.
to get to your spot. So I could have messed it up because I was walking on that trail as well. Like, I could have kicked up leaves. Like, I wasn't walking slow because I was, trying to get back there,
Yeah.
So, bad communication on both of my parts, for that side. But then again, you also said I lost him when he got to the little knob of the trail. So it's like you could only see so far. You
Right.
know where he went. But
Yeah.
we mark last blood.
Mm-hmm.
We have a game plan for tomorrow. I'm going in early in the morning. I'm going to be in there before daylight, an hour before daylight, at least an hour, 45 minutes before daylight. And then Ethan, first light, is going to go in there, and he's going to be searching for that deer. We think, we talked about it a little bit on the way home, but here's the issue with having a podcast is you have to wait to do the podcast and talk about this stuff because you don't
Yeah.
want to talk about it again because it's boring then at that point.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
But I think that those oaks that they were feeding in, I think he was going there. I think he went down that way. I can't see him going any further on that main trail. Because
No.
we would have seen at least some blood. I was seeing it little bits here and there. So I would have seen something.
Yeah, everything was telling me he cut into the woods
Mm-hmm.
where we found last blood.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously at that point, it's dark out. It was
Right.
nighttime.
Yep.
So we're like, You walk down the road further.
Yep.
I mean, you walk down probably another 30, 40 yards.
Yep.
Couldn't find any blood.
Nope.
And I was like, everything inside me is saying he went in there.
Yeah.
Because that's where he came from.
Yeah.
So he's probably going back home.
Yeah.
For him, he was a young...
Or there's also water down there as well. So, like, he might be going towards water or just bedding in general.
Exactly.
So,
but we couldn't find anything right there, kind of near the entrance of where he possibly would have ran into.
Yep.
So, made the call, said, hey, we're going to back out.
Yep.
Game plan it. Go back in tomorrow.
Yep.
Go look for him.
And the thing is, like, we have some friends down here. One is willing to help us, and it's like, okay, like, as soon as Ethan gets in there, like, if he can't find anything right off the bat, like, we got to get Cody Kelly in there to help you out. Like, it's like,
yeah,
we just gotta make that happen, because I would like to hunt at least till 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on what I'm seeing. Tomorrow is like anything. I've been telling myself this. We talked about it a little bit on the way home, and then we'll get back to the blood trail and stuff like that. But from the get-go, it's always like when you go out of state, it's always, it's buck or bust. Like,
yeah.
But in reality, like, if you're hunting pure public, if you don't have private pieces, you can't bait here. Like Ohio, you can bait on private. So like public, you're going in like you are in Pennsylvania. Like, you're literally boots on the ground, finding good sign, setting up there, and hoping for the best. Like, you don't know what's in that area.
Right.
You don't know if it's used often. Like, you have to go by what your woodsmanship is. Like, that's that's kind of like the cool part of going in blind. But, and at the very beginning, like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a nice buck. Like, right away, it's like in your mind, like, I'm gonna get a nice buck, and it's like, like the last day, I'm willing to shoot a doe. So why would I pass up doe to shoot one the last day when I can get a doe earlier?
Any day.
Yeah, right. Like that doe that we spooked, that was by where my stand is now.
You were ready to go.
I was knocking an arrow.
You were ready to shoot her.
I was, but then also in my mind, I was like playing like there was a devil and a little angel on my shoulder. It was kind of like, should I shoot this deer or not? Like,
yeah,
like,
because like what's coming in here
right
in the afternoons or the mornings? Is there a buck in here
right.
that I could have shot? Like, we have one tag. I mean, you could buy another one.
I could drop another $80 and get another tag, but it's like I don't really want to do that.
No.
So yeah, it's tomorrow. It's the first thing that walks by me. Like you said, there's no antler restrictions. I'm going home with some meat. I paid $257 for a tag for down here in Ohio.
Yep.
It's non-resident, so I'm gonna hopefully be able to go home with something. If not, I'm gonna make sure Ethan we find that buck, because there's no way that buck is still alive.
No.
After that arrow, like, yes, the blood isn't that great, but my thought is the buck was quartering to Ethan, not hard, but so he was quartering to him, like maybe at like a 1 o'clock angle, like 12 o'clock is him going straight up that trail. 1 o'clock is like looking towards you. Kinda.
Yeah.
But so my thought is if you put it behind the shoulder, like you're always taught to do, being at 10 yards and you're dialed in at 20, 30, and 40, you probably hit high. So you hit high heart, high lungs is probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah. That's because that's also what first deer I ever shot.
Right.
Elevated like that.
Yes. So
out of a hang on.
Yeah. So you probably, and there wasn't really any meat on the arrow either. So you didn't hit pure meat. Like, you probably hit top lung, which is why there was no bubbles in it. And then also heart, which is why there was a lot of red. So I'm thinking that, it's going to take a while for him to start really spewing out because it was higher up. So once the lungs start filling up with blood, then that's when he'll start bleeding.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's what happened, but I think he was running pure adrenaline type stuff and just went down. He was staying on top as long as he could, but then the positive thing is, like, he didn't keep going straight, but I think he did go downhill. I think he went downhill. Yeah. But the thing is, like, when I went in there, I can't. When me and my dad would track deer when we shoot them, if you can't find the blood, you can at least see the hoof prints of where they're like staggering.
Right.
And at nighttime, when I'm walking in that woods, I can't see what's like. It doesn't look like anything was happening.
Right.
But like you might go in there. Like the thing with using a light is like you see this circle right here. But like there's stuff outside of your circle that you can't look at the same time you're looking at that circle. So like then you move around and you try and do it, like it's harder. So I mean, I think once you get in there and you start seeing things, and I think the hardest part's going to be if other people are in there too. Like if other people are hunting it, which tomorrow's Saturday,
that is true.
So it's going to be more difficult.
I mean, I'm not really. I'll be like, listen, I'm looking for a buck I shot. Suck it up and help me, or shut up.
Yep,
like,
exactly.
I'm trying to look for a dead deer here.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, so I mean, it was honestly like, I want to get your thoughts, Ethan, on it, because you were there when I went through it. When I missed a buck with the crossbow, and I was tracking blood for 700 yards.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So what's going through your mind right now?
Oh my gosh. Depression, something along those lines. It was like a knot in my chest right now. Mm-hmm. Trying to I've never had this happen. Mm-hmm. Every deer, granted, I haven't shot a lot of deer. Mm-hmm. But every one that I've shot, no more than 60 yards. Mm-hmm. Dead. Mm-hmm. Some of them, I see them die.
Yeah.
So for this to be the first one, first out of state, first archery buck, first buck in 7 years, I got like a knot.
Yeah.
Right in my chest.
Yeah.
Like, where the hell is this deer?
Right. It's
kinda
almost like
an empty feeling right now.
Also, probably like, in your mind, you probably just want to be in that woods, just keep searching right now.
Yeah, I was not. I knew as soon as you couldn't find a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And we were fine. Like, I knew it in the back of my mind. We were going to have to back out.
Yeah.
But I was like dreading for you to say that.
Yeah.
And then you said it, and I was like, in my back, I was like, fuck.
Yep.
Like, I didn't want to.
Yep.
But yet, I know it's the smartest decision.
Yeah.
To back out.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I never had to do it because, one, I never shot. I've shot 2 archery deer, and they both dropped, like you said, but I was with the crossbow. So I haven't shot one yet with the compound, which is another reason, in my mind, it's like, why am I not shooting a doe? Like, I should get deer into my belt for that bow. But with the whole mindset of, backing out, I never had to back out for a deer before, rifle or archery. It's always been I find them, I find good blood. And, I've also never shot a deer at last light either, close to last light. It's always been in the morning that I've shot deer.
Yeah, I've never had to worry about dark ever.
Nope.
With the few that I've shot, it's always been either morning or lunch.
Yeah. And so this is another thing, because I know that you like to get down before last light, obviously, and start walking back to your car as it's getting dark. So, and today I told you, no, you're staying in that stand until it's literally dark and you cannot shoot anymore.
Yep.
And I think by that time, when that deer came by you, I think you would have been down if I didn't tell you to do that. I think you would have been starting to slowly walk your way back.
It would have been close.
Yeah, it was like half an hour before.
Yeah, I think it was better though because I knew you were there.
Yep.
I don't know, by myself. No, I'm out of the woods before it's dark.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But then I was like, nah. I know where I'm going.
Yep.
It's just a nice road.
Yep.
Cody's just down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. I'll stay here in the dark. No problem.
I mean,
I'm fearless when I'm with someone else.
Yeah.
Not so much by myself.
Yeah. I don't want this to deter you either from staying till last light, because especially in the early season like this, that is the best time to be in the tree stand in a good area like you were in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to. I don't know, man. I'll just have to keep practicing. getting up into a hang on and shooting out of it more and
I
getting
don't,
those angles and
but I don't think
building
you
confidence.
had. I don't think you had a bad shot. Like I think it's just purely just he was closer. Like he was honestly maybe not even 10. Like he was maybe
like he was close. Like
8.
you could see at some point when you released the video,
Yeah.
you could see where my hang on is to where the bolt is in the ground.
Right.
And you're like, he's right there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean he was right there. And when you called me, he was like, oh, Ethan first said it was like 20 yards. I was like, okay, that's a good distance, you know.
Yeah.
And then to get there, it's like, dude, this is like not even maybe 10.
Yeah.
Like this is
pretty
close.
I was like, oh yeah,
you were
took
right there.
He took up almost the entire view of my scope when I was looking at him. I was
One
like,
thing
shit.
I do recommend to almost every archery hunter out there, no matter crossbow, compound, or anything like that, is we're always taught to like aim right behind the shoulder blade.
Yeah.
Aim for mid-mass of that deer. If you hit front a little bit, you're going to hit lungs and heart. If you hit back, you're going to hit liver and maybe guts. But if you hit dead center where you aim, you're going to hit liver and back of lungs. So like either way, you're hitting something.
Right.
Like if you hit a pure gut shot, that deer's going to die.
Just going to take a little longer.
Yeah, same thing with the liver. Like if you hit anything in that area right there, that deer's going to die. So like
it's just a matter of when.
There's so many instances where people aim for the shoulders, they hit him in the shoulder, and they never recover that deer because the shoulder stops the broadhead.
Yep.
So it's like
I always go right behind it.
So why even take that risk of like just aim center mass and just go from there? Because I think I heard that from Cody DeQuisto on one of his podcasts, and I think that's like the best advice almost any archer could hear is that right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but all in all, Ohio has been fun so far. We have one full day of hunting left. Ethan's going to recover his buck tomorrow. We're going to have Cody Kelly on the podcast, and it's going to be fun.
Hopefully you'll see pictures of a buck.
Yep, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
All right, any words about going in blind? Any final words about going in blind?
I mean, it's been fun. Go with your gut.
Yeah.
We just said, hey, you know what? This spot's going to work.
Yep.
It's just everything's pointing here, and look what happened.
Yep.
I had one walk out.
Yep. Hopefully it works like that tomorrow, and hopefully we can recover yours, and we'll double up in one day.
That would be fantastic. We've never done it.
Never.
It'd be together.
I think it would be doubled up in one day because you found it tomorrow, and I would shoot one tomorrow.
Yeah. No, so you and I have never done that before.
No.
So,
yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
It's a first.
We'll make it happen.
Make it happen, man.
All right. See you, everyone.
Bye.